Hello friends, you find me with my feet up in the caravan. I apologise for not having made a video in, gosh, over 2 weeks now, is it? But anyway, I'll make up for it today, what? And talk a lot and bore you all rigid. No, just joking. I've been rather busy of late, and it's rather taken up all my energy, so I do apologise for that, but welcome anyway to another edition of A Parson's Progress. Some progress, some regress. Don't you find that in life, that often one takes 2 steps forward and 1 step back? And that's the sort of nature of life, and it's about life I really want to talk about today. But before I launch in, I'll just give you a brief update really on well, what I'm smoking and what's going on and all the rest of it. Now, I had another haul from a foreign country today that shall remain nameless. I wonder if I can show you any of it. I got a whacking great tin of Danska Club Black. Now, I use that primarily in the morning. Very vanilla forward, and it's just a light smoke with one's coffee. I enjoy that. I had it for the first time last time I had a haul come in, and I just to test it, and I'm happy with the results. This takes the place over my Peterson's Deluxe mixture, which was vanilla forward, but of course you pay a fortune for it. Then what happened was, I didn't order any more of this, the Oriental. You have to be careful how much one orders, but I did of course go for my mainstay, which is the Rat Race Exotic Passion. I'm very partial to a bit of passion, as anybody that knows me will tell you. Of the moral variety, of course. Now, what else came? I'm sure more than that came. Oh, right, yes. Some Silham's Black came, and where's that gone? Oh, that's over here. Bloody great tin of that. Silham's Black. I think he was called Dave. He was the trucker who sent me a free supply of this some months ago now, and rather got me onto it. This is another sort of mild filler in, you know, where you don't want a really light breakfast smoke, and you don't want one that's going to knock your socks off. This is just one where you're in the mood for a smoke, but you don't want something explosive. Quite nice, that Silham's Black. So that came, and what I thought I'd buy, and I'm not really acquainted with, although it smells familiar, and I'm going to fire it up for the first time, is this little baby. Now have a look at this. Well, it came in that, with all those ghastly warnings in German, and it's going into that, a nice vintage tin, bearing the same name, Erranmore Mixture. So without further ado, let me just check whether I've prepped my pipe. Ugh. Not really. I need to empty. Might help if I emptied it. And first, never had Erranmore Mixture in, well, donkey's years. I think the last time I had it was probably in my 20s. I can't remember. But I think Piper X1X smokes it, and I think he sort of gave me the idea to get some. So I'm going to give it a whirl. Oh, I've been in reasonably good health. I'm going to have to cut down a bit on the smoking. I've been wheezing, and not wheezing, but, you know, coughing and spluttering a bit in the mornings. I think I might be inadvertently inhaling it. Somebody once praised me on the quality of my retrohaling, and I'm not sure that I should be doing that. So I'm making a concerted effort not to breathe it in. And I know, difficult when you've been forming habits. Anyway, it's going to come out of this. Now look, it's in there, and sending it flying. I bought this tin and it arrived full of glue. And I complained. And he said, well, I inspect all my tins before they go out. I said, well, you haven't expected this. Anyway, he gave me a total refund. Didn't require it back. So, with the aid of a blowtorch, I got off as much gunk. I think it'd been used to mixing arrowsite or something. I don't know. This was just all full of glue, dried glue, and a bit on the inside and around the rim. So I took a blowtorch to it and managed to scrape most of it off. There's some little bit. I mean, I'm going to put it in the sink with the dishes later and get a Brillo pad on it and give it a final scrub. Anyway, it's quite a nice sort of golden coloured ribbon cut tobacco here. I'll put some in my pipe. Sorry for those who don't really have any interest in pipes or whatever. I will get onto something spiritual in a moment, but there we go. I'm all things to all men. And anyway, so that was great fun. I like bringing things back to life, don't you, and using them again. Even if it's only a tin. I've got a clock there I need to repair. I'll show you it in a minute. Again, that was supposed to be working and didn't. I got it for 20 quid in the end. Beautiful thing. I've only seen one other example of it and it's £2.5 grand. So I'll take it for 20 any day of the week. But let's get this thing started. Well, there you go, you see. Shuts nicely now, he says. After a fashion. It's on. I thought it sort of screwed on it, doesn't it? It sort of just presses on. I used the blower twice today. I like fiddly jobs. What do you like on fiddly jobs? I enjoy a fiddly job. I'm not very good on big jobs, so I like fiddly jobs. And I've got a blessed load of fiddly jobs to do. One was sort that tin out. One was, do you remember when I did a video on this camera? This old Agfa. Well, this focusing ring was jam solid. It's going round now. See? It's going round. So I looked it up, and apparently the sort of lubrication they use in, well, 100 years ago now, kind of dries up and becomes a sort of a glue. So I took the bloody blowtorch to that too. That's going around fine now. I think. It doesn't seem to be going all the way around. It's like it's on a screw mechanism, but maybe it only goes so far, the focus on this thing. But that means that's now oven ready, and with the right film, is it 120, I should be able to take photographs on that, and I intend to do just that, because I think I've got everything working on it as it should. Fiddly job, but who would have thought a blowtorch would be such a useful tool in life? It's like a glorified hairdryer, because it's not butane or whatever. There's no liquid fuel in it. It's not one of those sort of blowtorches. It's like a glorified hairdryer, but obviously more powerful. You wouldn't want to dry your hair with that. Well, you might if you want that sort of frizzy look. Anyway, so I've got my Erin in me pipe. I've got a lovely drop of Bordeaux. Sainsbury's delivered it. And most welcome it was too. Unfortunately, the poor driver got his vehicle stuck on my track up the road. And he couldn't get back out. I don't know what he was trying to do. Now, normally they just park at the top and wander down. And he just sort of, for some reason, decided he would go in a bit and then try it. Didn't happen. He was stuck there hours. Well, he won't have starved to death. He had a van full of food. So I'm drinking a drop of Bordeaux that he dropped off. And let me give you some impressions, should I? Not those sort of impressions, the impressions of the tobacco. I did an impression of the royal family the other day for my clerk of works, and she thinks I'm a good impressionist. Bloody hell, Barbara. Oh, Jim. Yeah, it's not bad for an amateur. Bloody hell, Barbara. And now I'm not going to get a light. Oh dear, I might have to fill him up. Talking of that, remember that Dunhill I bought? Got problems with this as well now, which I'm trying to fix. They're not very difficult, but you see, the flint works on this thing going round, and that just sits on a spindle that goes into that bit there. But there's a washer which I've taken off, which I can't really seat properly. And when I'm turning that round, it turns this spindle screws into there. But when you turn this, it sort of undoes it a bit, and so it all goes loose again. And that's been working fine right up to last week. So that is another little fiddly repair. I'm always doing fiddly repairs. And some I'm successful in, and many others I'm not. I could have seen, I lit it off there. I have got some cricket lighters up there. Oh, it's like the Shekinah of the Lord in here. Right. I won't say anything about it yet, because you can never quite tell anything about a tobacco on the first few puffs. I don't know how good the sound is. I haven't got my furry ball on. It's quite moist, so I'm trying to... it's good that I've got it alight. Not going to give you any thoughts about it until I'm halfway down the bowl. And apart from anything else, I want to get on with what I'm talking about. In other news, my book is in the final throes of its edit. Like Neville Chamberlain, I have in my hand a bit of paper from my publishers. Came to the post today, telling me the order of battle and what I have to do and what they're going to do. They will edit and copyright it, but of course I want to kick it into the best shape it can be before I send the complete manuscript. And I'm just over halfway. Not easy, not a quick job. I'm only managing to do a chapter or two a day. But within a fortnight, the whole manuscript will be oven ready, I think. Now, you'll have seen a cover that I often promote the book, with which I've advertised it in the past. That won't be the final cover, because it has to appeal to quite a particular audience, and you don't want to put people off. And the cover is very, very important. And mine was rather just too equestrian, if not fox hunting, and that will put a lot of people off. Even though it was in the days when it was legal, and it's not really about fox hunting, but even so, I don't want to put people off. Yes, it does feature, but then it features in Downton Abbey, and nobody turns that off. Because it is a sort of vintage drama, principally a romance. I've been watching Richard Vobes. His book is practically out, and he's probably going to sell out all his copies. God love him. Mind you, he has got a massive following. Anyway, so yeah, my book will be out within months. Not before Christmas, I doubt. I doubt it get out before Christmas, and I don't want it to get out before Christmas particularly. People have got better things to spend their money on, haven't they? Like the grandkids. But anyway, I've got a designer that's working on the cover. Got an idea of what I want the thing to look like, and then I've got to market it. Well, it will be marketed anyway. It'll be in most retail outlets, I would have thought. I'm going to be able to obviously get them to send me some hardbacks and some paperbacks, which I can sign and send on to you if any of you might be interested. And I know one or two of you have said that you would be. But nearer the time, I will establish some sort of website where you can actually, give me your name, address, or at least an email or a contact number or something, and we can then organise the sale directly to you, a signed hardback or a signed paperback. There will, of course, be a e-book. I think that's what they call them, and that'll go out at about the same time. There may be some sort of way I can do a pre-release where one can order them on Amazon. You won't save any money by buying them either from me or from Amazon. The only thing is, if you buy them from Amazon, I can't sign them. So it might be better to get them from me, I don't know. But I've got to think about all of this and get my strategy together. The other thing, without boring you too much about my book, is that, of course, I will have a complete manuscript as a PDF or some such. And what I might be able to do for those who are interested in reviewing the book, perhaps even ahead of its public sale, as it were, publishing date, I might be able to send you by email the finished manuscript, and that would principally be aimed at those of you who feel that they might like to leave a review on Amazon. Because on Amazon, you don't have to actually have bought the book on Amazon to leave a review about the book. But more of that later, because I don't even know how to do that yet. It's probably quite straightforward. Because I have an ambition. I know you shouldn't have ambitions. But my ambition would be to sell 1,000 copies. Sounds a lot, but it's not really in the book world, I suppose. And I have 100 reviews on Amazon saying what an absolute load of tripe it is. That's my short-term goals anyway. Well, long-term goals maybe. Might take forever to get that many sales. I'm hoping not. We'll see. It's a ripping good yarn. It's a page-turner. And it's a cosy book for an English winter. Because it's principally set more or less in winter. So there we are. That's a bit of a teaser for you, and that's where I am at the moment. Oh, the other fiddly job is found that. I went to the Container the other day. That was the church, my last church, St Mary's in York. It's an Anglican church, but I said the Roman Mass there in Latin. Don't know if you can see that. Anyway, I found that, and perched in front of it is this bloody great heavy thing, weighs a ton. Oh. Now the escapement on that is knackered, and so is the mainspring, and I've got to repair it. A lovely old clock. But for 20 quid I'm not complaining. Mind you, escapements cost the earth. I'm going to try and fix it myself, and that'll be that will be something. You need specialist tools, and you've got to wear eye protection and other things, because those mainsprings can come out like a razor blade at 100 miles an hour. So, yeah, job for another day, really. And because I'm principally, as I said, taken up with every day I've been editing the book, and it's left no energy left over to do videos. So this is probably quite a long one, isn't it? What I might do, just temporarily, is turn the video off now, but then I'll get another half an hour, just in case I run over. Is that all right with you? Okay, let's give an impression on this before I do so. Okay, it's quite mild. It's not punchy at all. It's actually quite a fruity smoke. Yeah, I like it. I don't know what to say about it, really. I think there's Virginias in there, possibly a bit of burley. Some kind of vanilla topping maybe, or rum and raisin or something. Honey. Probably honey. But yeah, stays alight, produces a lot of smoke. And what I might say is an easy smoke. Anyway, I'm going to turn the vid off, and then I'm going to come back to you. We're back. We are back, my friends. So, let me just put my feet up. No point in being comfortable. We used to have a saying in the army. When I was in the Gulf War, the soldiers thought I was mad. They were strapped to my Bergen, which is a sort of haversack affair to those who don't know. It was a pillow from home, a feather pillow. And I went through the entirety of the first Gulf War with my pillow strapped to my Bergen. And whilst the rest of the soldiery shoved woolly pulleys under their heads in their gonk bags, that is sleeping bags, to the civilians, I would have a beautiful plump down, goose down I think it was, pillow. And people used to say to me, "Padre, why on earth you got that ruddy thing strapped to your ruddy Bergen in a ruddy war?" And I used to say to them, any fool can be uncomfortable. And I'm glad I brought it. Anyway, talking about being uncomfortable, the title of this video is I Can't Get No Satisfaction. Get Me No Satisfaction. Rolling Stones, don't you know? You'll remember the song, I know you will. You'll have it in your head now as I speak. I can't get no satisfaction. And I was just thinking on the satisfactoriness of life the other day. And the reason I was thinking about it was, you'll remember I spoke a couple of weeks ago, I was halfway up the mountain. I talked about life and woe, and the one impermeable aspect of life is our soul, our essence, which never changes. We might view it differently, but the quintessential soul remains unmoved, impermeable, unchanged, and lasts forever. Everything else, I talked about the transitory nature of life, didn't I? And how everything moves on. Everything moves on. I talked about how our health comes and goes. Money comes and goes. Relationships come and go. Life comes and go. Pets come and go. Marriages succeed and fail. There doesn't seem to be a fixed point. But the purpose of today's video is to give you hope. Because there is a fixed hope. In fact, there are two fixed hopes. Within which one can find security. Now, the first I've alluded to. That pivotal part within you, that essence, that soul, that true self, one's true self, that remains unaltered, irrespective of whatever the hell else is going on in life. That'll be there with you. It will be with you in prison. It will be with you in hospital. It'll be within you in your home, riding your tractor, or whether you're on a horse, galloping through the beautiful English countryside. That inner essence, that soul, remains unchanged, immovable. What I'm to talk about today is the second part of reality which remains unmoved, and that's God. Now, of course, I use the word God. Other people use other words like the Great White Spirit, or Brahman, or I don't know, Buddha. One's Buddha nature. A lot of these terms are almost interchangeable in my mind, because there are all ways that we that know little are trying to know everything. And so we're constricted by language. But of course the nature of life, the nature of the universe, the nature of ourselves is the same and unalterable. We just label things slightly differently sometimes. So that second pivotal part of our life, which remains unchangeable, is what I as a Christian would call God. You might call it something else. Some people just refer to it now, don't they? It's become rather trendy in the last 20 years just to refer to as the universe. And people send out their wishes to the universe. But call it what you like. Essentially, I'm talking about an overarching reality that holds within it everything that you perceive on a daily basis. Whether that be the beautiful mountains that I'm looking at now, my squalid caravan, or even this beautiful Dunhill pipe. All of it is contained within what I would call God. And that is unalterable. The reality of that greater force, that greater being, that overarching force that contains all that is, remains absolutely unalterable. It doesn't matter whether you're in a good mood, a bad mood, whether you're in prison, whether you're in hospital, whether you're just going through a divorce or an illness, or whether your kids have just left home. That force remains unchanged. But within it, within that circle, think of it as a circle, everything else is subject to change, apart from your soul, of course. Now, once you realise that your soul is permanent and unchanging, and you realise that God is permanent and unchanging, you can regain a certain amount of security in your life, a certain amount of joy, a certain lack of anxiety. Because the one thing that causes most of our suffering in life is literally, as I said before, the transitory nature of everything. Pleasure, joy, sadness, sorrow, happiness. Things come and go. They ebb and flow all the way through your life until you die. And there are going to be good days and there are going to be bad days. And goodness knows I know the difference between the two. But I think that was partially, I might be wrong, that the Rolling Stones were trying to get at, that I can't get no satisfaction. And the people singing that song had lots of money, lots of girlfriends. They could wear what clothes they want, live in what apartments in London they wanted to, eat what they like, travel where they want by jet. And yet, there is a song, I can't get no satisfaction. Now the Buddhists have a word for it called dukkha. In other words, in this realm of creation we experience dukkha, which is often described as, or translated as being suffering. But that's not quite a truthful rendering of the word dukkha, because yes, of course we all suffer. But it's far deeper than that. It's a sense of unsatisfactoriness. You know, that one feels unsatisfactory. There's a sort of unsatisfactory tinge to all things. So it means, therefore, no matter how much you think you've achieved in terms of status or power or possessions or relationships, sometimes when you sit alone in those few wee hours before bed, possibly, or maybe early in the morning, or if you wake in the night, there's a slight shimmering anxiety. And that is known as dukkha. Not suffering, it's the feeling of things not being quite satisfactory. And yet you look on the surface of it all and you think, well, what have I got to complain about? And sometimes we do have things to complain about. But even when we don't have anything to complain about, there'll be that nagging dis-ease, unease, a feeling of being unsatisfactory. And now that is because Now, excuse me a while when I take a sip of my very satisfactory wine. We have pinned our happiness on our careers, our wives, our husbands, our homes, our ambitions. And therefore, it is necessary, therefore, that following on from that comes a certain amount of feeling unsatisfied. Because there's always something that needs doing, completing, achieving. There's always goals in life, isn't there? And then you die. And all of that will just seem like dross on your deathbed. I won't be caring one jot whether my Dunhill table lighter works on my deathbed, or that clock. I might ask if I could have a smoke on my pipe, mind you. And so the positivity I want to communicate today to you, if you're feeling unsatisfied, a bit lost, a bit anxious, remember that centre, that core, that essence within you is impermeable and is not transitory. That will remain forever, even when you die. And that all-encompassing power, energy, God, that has created all things, including you, exists forever and is unchangeable. So there are fixed points, there are anchor points. Think of it as a wheel, and think of the centre of a wheel that doesn't move. Everything moves around it, but the centre doesn't shift. And I talk about meditation a lot, because it is meditation that will help you to get in touch with that centre. You won't get in touch with that centre by rushing around and doing lots of things. We're human beings, we're not human doings. Try to sit with yourself and that overarching energy of love that created all things, and then you will get eventually a sense of peace, a sense of joy. Because all the things that are annoying you and making you feel unsatisfactory, you will see them in their true context and how they're not really that important. And that will set you free, you see. Our Lord said the truth will set you free, and that will set you free. Because what you will have done is you will have aligned your spirit with that greater overarching spirit, which is God. And most of what goes wrong in life is when we turn away from God and do not align ourselves with what you might call the Holy Spirit. But when you live in accord with the Holy Spirit, when your focus becomes centred upon that thing which never changes, there you will find your true freedom. I won't talk about meditation today because it's been a long video already. I have done on some other videos, but I want to do a longer one at some point on meditation again. But just to leave you with this thought, if you think of God as breathing in and breathing out, you talk about breath, don't we, in meditation, how you follow the breath. Follow the breath in, follow the breath out. Follow the breath in, follow the breath out. Because apart from anything else, while you're thinking on that, you're blocking out extraneous thoughts, which you allow to pass like clouds. That's why people pray mantras. That's why people pray the Jesus prayer. Because when you're doing that, when you think about one thing, you can't think about two. The brain can't think about two things at the same time, basically. That's the point of a mantra. So when you're praying the Jesus prayer or your mantra, or you're following the breath as you would in Zen, in and out, as you're sat there on your meditation cushion or chair, you see, you can then unite yourself with that overarching reality which is being itself. And God, you see, brought all of creation, we are told, by his breath. And you are an emanation of God. Wonderful thought, isn't it? That you are an emanation of God. Not only did he create those mountains over there and these beautiful trees, but he created you. He breathed. And God is outside his creation, of course, if you think of the circle again, but he holds the circle in love, and everything is breathed into that circle. But also everything is brought back into God again, eventually. And that includes your soul, of course, when you become united with God. Because we don't die when we die. Our bodies die. This thing here, which holds our spirit, our soul, But that essential you continues, and you have been breathed out into creation, and you will be breathed back, inhaled into God. That is if you want to, of course. God can't force anybody to do anything. But the process of life and death, of resurrection, rebirth, is circular. It's the incoming breath, it's the outgoing breath. And this is what we do in meditation. It's this wonderful circle that goes round as you sit there quietly, embraced in the being, which you can't escape. You can't escape God's presence. You could ignore it, but it's there. So the point of meditation is not to ignore God's presence, but to allow yourself to bask in that presence, to become one with it, because eventually you will return. You will return to God, and all of these transitory things that exercise us so in our daily life will be seen in their proper perspective. And none of them, frankly, are that important. And so I'm going to leave you with that thought, a bit deep today. Father John's been on one of his sermons. I hope you find it helpful. If you've got any questions, do ask. I'm always happy to reply to anybody. And that's about it for me today. I'm going to carry on after this video with a little bit more editing. I don't feel like I've done enough today, but then you never do you? But I refuse to feel unsatisfied, my friends. So this is Father John signing out. God bless you, God keep you, my wee parish of misshapen miscreants, the mischievous and the misunderstood. And God willing, I'll see you on a video, and God willing, it won't be as long next time. You take care.